So you copied that down. Did it give you the same things down? I changed mine from a 2 to 1 and saw it worked. If it didn't work, did you remember to use the dollar signs? If not, go back to the first one, the wheat one, change that one, put the dollar signs in there, and then drag it down to try it out. Try putting a 1 in the last item and see if this brings back wheat as well, because this one will actually catch you the most obvious. And if not, then go back, change the wheat, copy it down again. Alrighty. Let's move on. So our next part then is we have the feed coming in and we know how much feed they need. So now we're going to bring over the nutrients for the feed. So first then let's format that top column of labels there. We'll do a wrap on them, make it about the same width for each of them so we can read it better. Then we're going to create a lookup using the feed code to return the nutrient value for each column. But there's something missing still. See, now a lookup would work if there was only one ingredient. Wheat. Good. Brings in wheat. Fantastic. Then how much wheat? Here's is for all the wheat. Here's how much nutrients. But the thing is you're going to deal with proportions here. You want to be able to say 10% wheat, 10% bone meal, 20% something else. And to do that then, we want to be able to put in fractions. So when we do the VLOOKUP and bring back the nutrients, we're going to have to divide that number of nutrients, or the amount of nutrients, by the percentage of the mixture. Did you get that? Okay, so we're going to divide how much you bring back. So let's say you pour a bowl of cereal and you're looking at the calories and it says 180 with milk. Okay, great. But you now need to split it with your little baby brother. So you take it and put half in his. Now you're not going to have 180 calories now from eating that bowl of cereal. You're just going to get 50% of those. So we want it to return that 90 calories, not bill you for the whole 180. But one thing, right now the numbers we're using for percentages are actually whole numbers, and you'll see why later on. And I don't want to change those, but I want to use those. So if it says 20, I want it to deal with it like it's 20%. If I just multiply it by that 20, that's 20 times over. And so I would be huge. Instead, I wanted to multiply it by 0.2. So we're going to have to divide those numbers by 100 when we're working them through. Now let's try this out. So we'll have to go back to our spreadsheet. And on the application page, here under calories then. So we are going to do a lookup. So lookup, vertical lookup. So what are we looking up? Well, we're going to use this feed number here that we had earlier, that 1. Where are we looking it up? Well, it's on the feeds table. So let's go to the feeds and grab the 1 and come over. Now, a point here is this table is not laid out the exact same order as the application page. So keep a close eye on which one we're actually looking for when it gets to columns. Because like right now, we want to bring back the kcal. That is the 1, 2, 3, 4th column. So I'm using a 4 there, but let me lock this down before I go anywhere else. F4 button. Okay. 4th column. And is this a range lookup? No, it is not. False. Now, that's what the calories would be at 100% of that feed type. But we don't have 100%. What we do have is 20%, or more true, 20, but it needs to be a percentage. So let's do that part. Okay, come back up here to the formula bar, and we're going to multiply that by 20 and divide that 20 by 100 so we can have it turn into percentage. Enter. So now then, if I put this back to 100, that should go back to, there it is. Let's go back to 20. 20. Perfect. So hopefully you end up with something that looks a little bit like that. Notice there? Now I didn't have to put the parentheses around it because it was all multiplication and division, so it's just going to go left to right. If you want to use it like I did before, sometimes I use it just to keep elements together so I know that it's together and dividing it by 100 and so forth. Don't forget to use the dollar signs in the table array because when you copy this down, it's not going to work out. So now what you're going to do is continue to the right and keep doing VLOOKUPs. We don't have to copy them down. Let's just copy them all down at the end. Keep in mind they are not the same order on the feed table. Check your work, change each one to 100, see if the values match right what it was on the feed table, and if so, good, then move on to the next one. Now one thing you might try, might help, is I get tired of counting them off. So I'm going to just put little numbers here on the side. Oops, that's supposed to be a 2. I can delete these afterwards, but at least while I'm doing this, I will know which column I am in. There. So next we're going to do the crude protein of wheat, and that was column number 3. Now I could start typing these equals VLOOKUP, open paren, and use the little helper thing here to guide me along. What am I looking up? That number. Where am I looking it up? Well, I didn't have it. Now really what I should have done, which we didn't cover in this one, is to go through and name this area like we did in that earlier assignment. So you could try that and it'd be a lot less work of having to keep coming back and selecting it and locking it down. Okay, I think we were at a 3 this time for crude protein, comma again, false. Enter. Then that whole trick here at the end, divided by D10, times D10 divided by 100. So times D10 divided by 100. Okay. Do it again. Lysine. Which one is lysine? Well, we'll figure it out. Equals VLOOKUP. What am I looking up? That number there. I'm looking it up on the feeds table. Highlight all of it. I already forgot which one we're getting. Are we getting calcium? Well, calcium's 5, lysine's 7. I think it was calcium. Let's find out. Okay, I'm going to lock this part down. Put a 5 in. False. 5 is for calcium. Let's see if I got the right one. I didn't. It was lysine. All right, so that was a 7. Let's change that little 5 in there to a 7. Okay, while we're at it, let's times this by the 20 and divide it by 100. Oops, 100. There. Okay, this time we know what it is. So speaking of which, I know what it is this time, right? It's a 5. So you'd think you could copy and paste it over, but the C10 would move. You could lock the C10 down, but then you can't copy it down. But I do have one tiny shortcut, which I'll bother showing you. You don't need to use this. If I highlight it up here in the formula bar, Control C copy, hit escape, then come over here, click back in the formula bar and Control V paste, I get the exact same formula. It's a way of bypassing it, changing it for that relative addressing. And now all I need to do is change that from 7 back to a 5. Did it save any time? I don't know. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Format those. We'll do that after. All right, last one. Phosphorus equals VLOOKUP. Actually, it's not last one, price too. Oops, that one. In our feeds table, we're looking up phosphorus. Phosphorus is, here it is, 6. Okay, lock this down, comma 6, false. And then lastly, price. I'm just going to copy that one in. Price salt wise there, price was an 8. 8. So, what did I not do? I got the D10 thing. I didn't do it here. Times that 20 divided by 100. And this brings up a good point. It's hard to proof your formulas this way. So, if you hold down the Control key and use this button here, it looks like they call it a tilde. Either that or there's a little mark like that. It's on the top left next to your number 1. So Control tilde, Oops, let me click out of there first. Control tilde. What it does is it toggles you into viewing formulas rather than the results. Now my formulas are big, so it didn't work out as much as I was hoping. Control tilde takes me back. In fact, this is how I grade your guys' papers, is by looking at it that way. So now then, I have them all locked down. Check, check, check. Perfect. Did I do the D10? Yes, I did. Let's highlight all of those and drag them down. Not to the totals, just to there. That looks reasonable. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Now for the feed, there's one thing more we want to add to it. We need to multiply that number by the amount they're actually eating. So we're going to multiply that by that J4 and lock down the J4, and then let's turn it into accounting or something like that, or currency. So our spreadsheet. So I'm going to come back to one of these. We've got all that, but now we're going to multiply that because that's just a little bit of feed. We don't know how much it is for an entire week. So let's do it by that right there, J4. Now we know 53.9 pounds. And I'm going to lock that piece down because when I copy it down, I want that 53.9 to stay in place. Perfect. So now I drag this down, and it's going to be more than 1/7 of a penny. There. Let's put that into some sort of number format. Maybe currency. Now that's just so, of course, the feed mixture here for one, well, actually it's showing it for the number of birds there. Perfect. All right, let's see what's next. Okay, so in J15, we're going to create a sum for all of the columns and then move the 1. So this is sort of an easy one. I'm going to click right here under F15 in this bottom one right here under the kcals, and I'm just going to use the sum button right here under home. Just click it. Because there's no breaks in the numbers above it, it got figured out exactly what it was supposed to. It got the right area. So all I have to do is just hit enter. Perfect. So now let's drag that to the right. When I dragged it, I grabbed it from that fill handle. Okay. I'm going to format with that as currency as well since we're here. Now where this 586 really needs to go, up there. So to move something, you could cut and paste it or just grab it from the green line, but not the dot in the corner, just from the line itself, and then drop it into its new home.